Have you ever really thought about how an AI, actually does something in the real world? Like, how does it send a Slack message or check today's weather? Well, it uses things called tools, which are basically its connections to the outside world. Today, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating science of giving AI the right tools and why getting that wrong can be a massive, multi-million-dollar mistake. I know, it sounds completely backward, right? A total paradox. But this isn't just some hypothetical question. It is a very real and very expensive problem that AI researchers are wrestling with right now. And the answer they've found is literally changing how we build the next generation of artificial intelligence. So how are they cracking this nut? Well, we've got a really clear roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start with the problem itself. Then I'll introduce you to the super clever solution. We'll look at the hard data from their tests, see the absolutely stunning results, and then we'll finish up by exploring why this changes pretty much everything. Let's get into it.
All right, first up, let's get right to the heart of the matter. We're going to expose the hidden and, frankly, super expensive flaw in how a lot of today's most powerful AI systems work. So, what it all boils down to is a totally different way of thinking. The old way, it's just brute force. For every single question you ask, the AI gets handed its entire library of tools. We're talking dozens, maybe even hundreds of them. The new, much smarter way is to act more like a helpful assistant, pre-selecting only the few most relevant tools for the specific job at hand. Now, this is where it gets kind of crazy. The cost of that old method is just, wow. Before you even type a single word, the AI has to read its own giant tool manual, burning through up to 80,000 tokens. You should think of tokens as the currency an AI spends to read and think. So this is like paying an absolute fortune just to open the toolbox. And that token cost? Yeah, that translates directly into cold, hard cash. A system using that old give it all the tools method could be spending $1.5 million a month just for the AI to read its own list of instructions over and over and over again. It's just an unbelievably wasteful process. But, it's not just about the money. And this slide really nails the core problem. When you flood an AI's brain, its context window, with 100 tools that have nothing to do with the task, it just gets confused. It's exactly like a person trying to work in a super cluttered, noisy room. Its performance just tanks. It starts making more mistakes. So giving it more tools was actually making it less accurate. So you've got this massive problem of cost and confusion. How in the world do you fix it? Well, let's move on to the solution, because this is where we see a much better way get built. It's a really elegant fix called semantic tool discovery. Now, all of this happens within an ecosystem called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Honestly, you can just think of it as a universal standard, kind of like a USB port, that lets any AI plug into any set of tools in a nice, consistent way. It's the playground where all this innovation is happening. Okay, so the magic here really starts with a one-time setup process. First, the system finds every tool it has access to. Then it reads each tool's description. And this is the absolute key, it converts the meaning of that description into a unique numerical code. It's called an embedding. It then stores all these codes in a super fast database, basically creating a smart, searchable digital card catalog for the AI's entire tool library. So what are these embeddings anyway? Well, they are the secret sauce. It's a way to translate the meaning of words into pure math. So a user's request like, hey, create a new channel for me in Slack, gets turned into a set of numbers. And a tool's description for, say, Slack create channel gets turned into a very, very similar set of numbers. The system can then instantly match them based on how close they are mathematically. It's not matching words, it's matching meaning to meaning. All right, this all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work in the real world? The proof is in the pudding. So let's move on and see how the researchers put this system through a really tough, real-world experiment to prove it. And listen, this was no simple test. They used 5 completely different sets of tools for things like coding on GitHub, messaging on Slack, for databases, for managing files, and even for checking the time and weather. With 121 different tools in the mix and 140 unique questions, they created a seriously tough and realistic environment to see if this new method could actually hold up. And now for the moment of truth. Let's take a look at what actually happened when they turned the system on. And I gotta tell you, this is where the story gets really, really dramatic. Boom! The very first result is just staggering. A 99.6% reduction in the tokens used just to tell the AI what tools it had. Remember that massive multi-million-dollar waste we talked about? Yeah, it was basically eliminated overnight. So the researchers found a kind of magic number. The quote says k=3 is the optimal operating point. So what does that even mean? It means the absolute sweet spot for both efficiency and accuracy was to retrieve just the top 3 most relevant tools for any given question. Not 1, not 10, 3. 3 was the magic number. And this data table shows you exactly why. Just look at the F1 score column. That's basically a grade for the AI's overall accuracy. You see how it peaks right there at k=3? If you give the AI more tools after that, like 5 or 10, its grade actually starts to go down again. This is the hard proof that less is truly more.
So here's the bottom line. The system isn't just way, way cheaper, it's also incredibly reliable. With k=3, the correct tool needed to answer the user's question was in that small, curated set of 3 tools over 97% of the time. It almost always finds what it needs.
And you can really see that jump visually on this chart. I mean, giving it just one tool is pretty good. You get an 85% success rate. But giving it that small choice of 3 tools pushes the reliability way up into the high 90s. It's that tiny bit of extra context that makes all the difference in the world. So, okay, we've seen it's massively cheaper and way more accurate. But the implications of this, they go so far beyond just a simple optimization. Let's zoom out and take a look at why this really changes the game for the future of AI. This whole semantic discovery method is really a foundational building block for a much, much smarter future. I want you to imagine a query going to a system that doesn't just find the right tool, but finds the right specialized AI agent to handle the entire task. Or what about an AI in your company that can securely find and use a tool from a partner company's system? It even opens the door for AIs to automatically string multiple tools together to complete complex, multi-step tasks, all on their own. Which, leaves us with one final big thought. By teaching an AI to focus on the meaning of what we're asking for and to just ignore all the noise, are we taking a huge step toward an AI that doesn't just follow instructions, but actually understands our intent? An AI that can finally, just get what we mean?